Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking through a couple player props I like over on Prizepicks for the Week 2 NFL slate coming up this Sunday. I'm recording this video on Saturday night, so these are some plays, guys, that I do like for the Sunday NFL slate. Going to talk about the games on Sunday. We're not really going to talk about Monday Night Football yet. I'll have a separate video out for that. Probably that'll go up later on Sunday night, talking through props for Monday Night Football. But for today, we got three plays to talk about for the Sunday main slate. And as always, guys, we're going to talk through these three plays. We're going to share why I like them. Now, before we do get started, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. If you do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. If you guys are new to Prizepicks and if you don't have a Prizepicks account, make sure to sign up and use promo code NOAH. When you sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code, place your first lineup. You'll instantly get $50 in promo funds added to your account. So check out Prizepicks if you have not yet. Do want to shout them out because they do have a free square available for Week 2. This was available for Week 1 and it's available for Week 2 as well. It's also going to be available for Weeks 3 and 4. So Prizepicks is giving out 4 free squares to start the NFL season. Caleb Williams, his pass yards prop is set at 0.5. It's going to be 0.5 next week and for Week 4. So you want to be taking advantage of these type of promos. Play these free squares. These sites are literally giving you free picks that you can add to your lineups, and then you just have to find 1, 2, 3, however many plays you want to pair with that free square. But you want to be taking advantage of these promos. And again, guys, if you don't have an account on Prizepicks, make sure to sign up and use promo code NOAH so that way you get those $50 in promo funds added to your account. But yeah, we got 3 plays to talk about for the Sunday main slate, so let's go ahead and break them down, guys. So looking at the first prop that I like for Sunday, it's going to be a targets prop. So for targets, or for Prizepicks, you can take a targets prop. You can take whether you think a player is going to have more or less than a certain number of targets. So you're not really betting on, you don't have to bet on receptions. You more so are betting on volume. And there's a guy that I like to go over his targets line, and that's Chris Godwin at 7.5 targets. Like him for more than 7.5 targets this week. So Godwin did have 8 targets Week 1 against Washington. Gets another pretty solid matchup here against Detroit. Detroit's defense has definitely improved over what it was previous seasons. But the way you beat this Detroit team is through the air. Detroit has actually kind of flipped. They used to be like a really bad run defense. It used to be really easy to run on Detroit, and now it's kind of the opposite. It's a lot harder to run on Detroit, and it's a lot easier to beat them through the air. So I think this is definitely a spot where you're going to see Tampa Bay throwing the ball a lot. And this is a game script where they are expected to be playing from behind. If you look at the spread here, they're going to be playing in Detroit, so they're on the road, 7.5 point underdogs. This does project as a playing from behind type of game script for Tampa Bay. And if you look at Baker Mayfield's projections this week, if you look at his pass attempts line is set at 35.5. So the sports books are expecting a lot of pass attempts for Baker Mayfield this week. If he's going to throw the ball 36, 37 times, I think there's a very good chance you're going to see 8 of those pass attempts go Chris Godwin's way, and he's going to get 8 targets here. Again, he did have 8 targets in Week 1. We know in this Tampa Bay offense that Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are kind of the 2 guys you expect to get a lot of the targets. I'm pretty sure Godwin led the team in targets last week. Evans had 6 targets, and then I think you saw Jalen McMillan. He got a few targets. Then I think, let's see, I'm going to pull up the box score. Yeah, Jalen McMillan got 3 targets. Trey Palmer, he got two targets. And, they will throw the ball to Rachaad White as well. He'll get some opportunity in the pass game. He did have 6 targets. But it was Godwin who led the team in targets last week. Gets another matchup here where you should see a lot of pass attempts for Tampa Bay, a lot of pass attempts for Baker Mayfield, potentially a lot of volume heading Chris Godwin's way. And if you look at Godwin's projections this week, he has a 5.5 receptions prop. And I believe that is juiced towards the over. If Godwin gets 6 receptions, if he goes over his receptions prop, he should have a very good chance of also going over this targets line. If you look at last season when Godwin had at least 6 receptions, he had 7, 12, 7, 10, 7, 11, and 12 targets in those games. So sure, there were a few games last season where Godwin got 6 receptions but didn't get 8 targets. But more times than not, I think if you see 6+ receptions from Godwin, you can also see 8+ targets. And there were a few games last season where he only had 5 receptions but got 11 targets, had 5 receptions, 8 targets. So the volume should definitely be there here in this matchup, in a spot like this where Tampa Bay is expected to be playing from behind. And I was looking at Underdog, and Underdog actually has Godwin's target prop set at 8.5. So we're getting a much better line here on Prizepicks at 7.5. I do like this as our first prop for Sunday. And then the next two props that I like are going to be fantasy scores. So if you're new to Prizepicks, I say this in almost every video. It's pretty self-explanatory for fantasy score. It's basically just like fantasy football. The scoring chart is the same scoring chart that every fantasy football league uses. You can see how the points are calculated. It is full PPR on Prizepicks, so you do get a full point per reception. But everything else, is pretty self-explanatory. So the fantasy score prop that I like that I want to talk about is Deebo Samuel, and I like Deebo Samuel for more than 16 fantasy scores. So we did see Deebo Samuel have a pretty good game week 1 against the Jets on Monday Night Football. Did finish that game with 18.7 fantasy points, factoring in Prizepicks scoring. I'm pretty sure in that game, Deebo got like 8 targets. He also got a lot of rush attempts because they were without Christian McCaffrey. They basically used Deebo Samuel as the backup running back last week. He had 9 targets, 5 catches for 54 yards, also got 8 rush attempts, and I believe he did have a rushing touchdown. They used him, I think they gave him like an end-around jet sweep near the goal line. He was able to get a rushing touchdown. But if you look at his usage last week, they lined him up a lot in the backfield. He got 8 carries, and I think they're going to do that again here. Like, I think this 49ers offense, they don't really have a ton of confidence in anyone in this backfield besides Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason last week played on 81% of the snaps. The only other running back to get playing time was Isaac Guerendo, and he only played 3 snaps last week. Maybe Isaac Guerendo plays more this week, but I think you're going to once again see Deebo Samuel basically operate as the backup running back for the 49ers. I think he's probably going to see 7, 8 targets once again. He's probably going to get 5 or 6 carries as well. They'll definitely use him, near the goal line too on, end arounds, jet sweeps. So he's definitely got plenty of potential for a touchdown here. There's a lot of ways for Deebo to get fantasy points this week because he's going to be used both as a runner and obviously as a receiver like he always is. You can kind of look at his projections this week. 55.5 receiving yards prop, 5 receptions prop, also has a 22.5 rush yards prop. So he's basically projected for like 13 fantasy points just from yards and catches, and that's not factoring in his touchdown potential. And I think Deebo's definitely got a pretty good chance at a touchdown this week. Another prop that I do like is for Deebo to score a touchdown, but I think I'd rather take fantasy score just because more times than not, if Deebo does score a touchdown, he's probably going to go over 16 fantasy score. And there are definitely scenarios where Deebo doesn't score a touchdown but still gets 16 fantasy points. He could catch 7 or 8 passes. He could get a lot of yards. So that's kind of why I like fantasy score more here. But there's a lot of props I like for Deebo here. Honestly, they did have him at 5.5 rush attempts. It looks like they took that off the board. That was definitely an over that I kind of liked as well. But yeah, I like Deebo over 16 fantasy score. I like Deebo to score a touchdown. Even 55.5 receiving yards I think looks pretty decent. I mean, he didn't go over that last week, but again, Deebo's just going to be used so much in this offense, both as a receiver and as a running back. And if you look at last week, Brock Purdy, he didn't have the greatest game passing. He threw for 231 yards, only had 29 pass attempts. Jordan Mason got almost 30 carries last week. I do expect the 49ers to use Jordan Mason a lot, but I don't think we can project Jordan Mason for almost 30 carries again. So you probably are going to see a few more carries go to Deebo. Maybe you'll see a few more pass plays for the 49ers this week. I mean, you look at Brock Purdy's projections, he's got some pretty high lines in terms of pass yards, pass attempts, 242.5 pass yards, 30 pass attempts. He's got a 1.5 passing touchdowns line, which is basically even money. So I'm expecting a little bit less from Jordan Mason this week and a little bit more maybe from the passing game, which obviously should include Deebo. And maybe Deebo gets a few more carries this week, with Jordan Mason potentially not getting 30 carries again. So do like Deebo for more than 16 fantasy score here. And I was looking at some projections. I do like to compare, kind of DFS projections to Prizepicks projections and kind of make some decisions that way. And the DFS projections that I look at, they currently have Deebo Samuel projected for right around 20 fantasy points. So they're pretty high on Deebo this week. I'm pretty high on Deebo this week. I like him for more than 16 fantasy score. And then the third and final prop that I like is, like I said, again, it's another fantasy score prop. Andre Yosevich, Andre Yosevich, I believe that's how you say his last name, Yosevich. We're going to take him for more than 9 fantasy scores. So Yosevich is basically operating as the wide receiver 2 for the Bengals right now without T. Higgins. T. Higgins, I believe, is doubtful, or I think he's already been ruled out. Might be doubtful. Just going to confirm that real quick. Yeah, he's doubtful, so not expected to play. So you're once again going to see a lot of playing time for Andre Yosevich. And Jovic actually played every single snap last week. He played 100% of the snaps. He probably is going to play 100% of the snaps once again this week. And I know he didn't have a great game last week. Like, you look at his box score, he only finished with 5.6 fantasy points. I believe he had, like, I think 2 or 3 catches, I want to say. Yeah, he had 3 catches for 26 yards. He did get 6 targets, so he did get a decent amount of volume. But if you look at the Bengals' offense last week, their offense was terrible. I mean, they only put up 10 points on the Patriots. Joe Burrow only threw for 164 yards last week, so it was a very bad game overall for the Bengals offense, and Jovic still had 5.6 fantasy points, even with the Bengals having a terrible offensive game. I don't think the Bengals offense is going to be as bad as they were last week. Now, this is definitely a tough spot for them going on the road into Arrowhead to face the Chiefs, but I think this is a game that definitely has some shootout potential if the Bengals can put up points here. This game does have a 48 total, so it is expected to be higher scoring. The Bengals are on the road as 6-point underdogs, so they're probably going to be playing from behind in this type of game script. And if the Bengals are playing from behind, we know they will really lean on the pass game when they're playing from behind. And you can kind of look at Joe Burrow's projections this week. He's projected for plenty of pass yards, plenty of pass attempts, has a 238.5 pass yards prop, 36.5 pass attempts prop. So obviously, we're expecting a lot of volume through the air for Joe Burrow. And if you're going to tell me that Jovic is going to be on the field for probably every single snap with Joe Burrow as his quarterback, I think we've got a pretty good chance at him getting non-fantasy points. And I mean, you just look at his yards and receptions prop. He's projected for 40.5 receiving yards. He's projected for 4 receptions. You give him 40 yards and 4 receptions. I mean, that's 8 fantasy points right there. Like, he can easily go over this fantasy score line without needing a touchdown. Obviously, if he scores a touchdown, I mean, we're pretty much guaranteed to cash it. I wouldn't say guaranteed, but very likely to cash this fantasy score if Jovic scores a touchdown. But he can easily go over this line without scoring a touchdown. He gets 41 yards and 5 receptions. That's 9.1 fantasy points. He gets maybe 55 yards and 4 receptions. That's 9.5 fantasy points. So there's just so many ways for Jovic to cast this line. And again, I think this line's definitely a little bit low when you look at the usage that Jovic had last week, playing every single snap. Again, the Bengals offense was terrible last week. Joe Burrow only threw for 164 yards. Would definitely expect him to be better this week, even though it is kind of a tough spot on the road against the Chiefs. Still think this is a matchup where Jovic should be able to at least get volume, get opportunity, and that's what we want to bet on. We want to bet on volume. We want to bet on opportunity. And you give me a guy playing every single snap with Joe Burrow as his quarterback and I only need 9 fantasy points, I think I got a decent chance at getting that. And looking at the DFS projections that I look at, they currently have Jovic projected for right around 11 fantasy points. So I do think this line of 9 on Prizepicks is definitely maybe a point or two too low. Like this play a lot. Going to be rolling with this as our 3 props for Sunday, guys. So make sure, again, to use that Caleb Williams free square. You can add that to this entry if you want to play it as a 4-pick. You can do a power play. Obviously, if you do a power play, it's a little bit risky because if you miss one play, you don't get anything. But if you hit all 4, you get 10x. Or you can do a flex play. You get 4 out of 4. You get 5x for that. And if you get 3 out of 4, you can still get 1.5x. Or you can kind of mix and match these, play them as 2-pick entries. Maybe do a 2-pick with Godwin and Samuel. Maybe a 2-pick with Samuel and Josivas. Maybe do a 2-pick with the free square and then one of these plays. It's up to you how you want to use these plays. But these are 3 plays that I do like for Sunday's NFL slate, guys. Hopefully we can hit all 3 of these plays and make some money this week. But again, guys, appreciate you watching the videos as always and supporting the Prizepicks content. Make sure you hit that like button down below if you did enjoy. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, guys, go sign up for Prizepicks. If you don't have an account over there, use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up. And when you place your first lineup, you'll instantly get $50 in promo funds added to your account. So check out Prizepicks if you have not yet. But good luck this week, guys. Thanks for watching as always. Appreciate your support. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.